Here you go.
What do you say when there are no words? Feel a song that's never been heard. How do you know when you hear the call? What do you do when you've done it all? Cannonball, 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 cannonball. It's not what you do, it's how you do. Be anything you want to be. It's not what you got, it's how you use it. You be you and I'll be me, it's just a matter of style. You can't fake it, mile after mile, feeling free. If you got the soul, you can make it. Move 'em out, let 'em roll, from sea to shining sea. Ball, cannonball. What do you do when the mountain is there? How do you answer the challenging day? And when your back's against the wall, what do you do when you've done it all? Cannonball, cannonball, cannonball. It's not what you do, it's how you do. Be anything you want to be. It's not what you got, it's how you use it. You be you and I'll be me, it's just a matter of style. You can't fake it, mile after mile, feeling free. If you got the soul, you can make it. Move 'em out, let 'em roll, from sea to shining sea. Ball, cannonball. Hey, now cannonball, 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 cannonball.
Yes, indeed. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, mothers, fathers, daughters, sons, brothers, and sisters. This is the Apex Online Racing GT3 League Tier 1 Season 11, round number 7, here at a rain-soaked Oulton Park. My name is King-Kodiak, with a bit of a dodgy voice, but travelling on nonetheless. I'll be one of your commentators for this evening's race. Joining me in the commentary box and in control of the cameras once again is the Lord himself. It is a Yorkie.
Hello and welcome to the stream once again, guys. This is going to be a very interesting and entertaining race that we're going to have here for you. As you can see, it is raining. We're at Oulton Park. It's quite a tight and twisty circuit, and it's going to be interesting with these GT3 cars trying to monster their way around each other around here.
Ooh, it looked like Shooter was introducing himself to that kind of stump barrier there, coming through his lap, turn 11. Yes, this race was last done in the wet, I believe, in season 6. It was either 5 or 6. I remember the race. I forget which season it was in. And again, it was absolutely rain-soaked and was absolutely hilarious fun. And seeing quite a few people already struggling to keep their cars pointing in the correct direction. But that is what we can expect to see. I believe we have 22 drivers with us for this very, very race. On board then with a JK14 in the Audi. Then coming up to turn 1, let's follow him through a lap through the Old Hall corner. There is going to be a very big lake there when the rain has been falling for a while. Along the avenue, then the fast right-hander of turn 2, Dentons, now 3 Cascades. It's so easy to wander wide in the dry, let alone in the wet. There's one of the Lamborghinis taking a sign for a bit of a ride through the grass there. Ironic, this straight's called Lakeside. Now Iron Bend, turn number 4. And then the banked Shell Oils corner, turn number 5. That'll get a little bit flooded, I would think. Oh, and JK very, very reluctant to get on the power. Now through turn 6, and then the 7, 8, and 9, Britain's chicane. Again, very easy to get the entrance of that completely wrong and either introduce yourself to that stump barrier that we saw Shooter do earlier, or just completely ruin your line through it. Over Hilltop now, turn 10. Very, very much on the brakes now. Hislop's turn 11. You can see the water already gathering on the apex of turn 11. Now Knickerbrook, 12. Back on the gas once again, uphill through, or that is Clay Hill, the fast left-hander of 13. Now the water tower of 14. There it is. Now Druids Corner, 15. And you can see how Jake is wrestling with that Audi to get the thing to grip, to get it to turn. Now down Warwick Bridge. Heading towards Lodge Corner, turn number 16. So easy, such a tricky corner. As you hit the apex, you're starting to go off camera, then downhill through the fast left-hander of Dearly, turn 17, and that is a lap of Oulton Park. And let's see what JK gets on the board. A 140.0. We will see how everyone else, and there's a lap from Bo, and 138.0 from Dalking. My goodness, he's not messing around in his Lamborghini. 137.6 from Leon. Very nice in the bright green Lamborghini. So, what is anyone going to have a particular advantage in the wet here, Mr. Yorkie?
I'm not entirely sure. I imagine the Lamborghini is going to be pretty good around the circuit. So obviously the guys have picked the car for a reason. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the cars actually unfold. I imagine the Z4 will be pretty decent around here, as will possibly also the Ginetta as well. It's kind of a tight and twisty circuit. There's a couple of straights, but it's not too important in terms of top line speed. But the focus at the moment is for these guys to try and get a lap time on the board, and you want to be doing it as early as possible, because as the session continues to progress, more and more rain is going to fall, more and more water is going to build up on the track, and the track is going to get slower.
Indeed, so everybody getting out and getting on with the job. There is Jardier in the Lemon Lamborghini as one of the Mercs getting out of the way. Currently second, 138 flat for Jardier. Oh, that tail didn't want to stick. He's really sliding the car through and he's jumped back to the pits. That could already be his best. Just under 5 minutes of quality left to go. There's Suomi down in 19th at the moment. Not gone too well for him. What's Andrex running today? What's our guest driver running? Currently 18th. That sounds like a Renault. It is.
Very good guess. Good guess.
Am I sad for knowing that by his engine roar? But, oh, he's trying. Now, Andrix is very much a stalwart for championing the less driven cars. And plus, I do a whole host of various daft challenges that have seen me drive every single thing that Project Cars 2 has to offer. So, yeah, I did recognise it. I wasn't 100% sure if it was the Renault or the Acura. So, that was a fair stab in the dark. But, yeah, championing the Renault. We have seen a Renault in Tier 1. I think it was last season. I can't remember who was driving it though the last time around. Welcome to those in the chat. Hello Stefan, didn't expect me to be here. Well, here I am. Unfortunately Fizzy is very unwell, so he asked me to step in. Oh, he was going very. Andrew was going very deep there into Druid, but managed to keep that one under control past the white and pink Lambo. Coming into Lodge now. I've got my corners right. Yes, I have. And into Deer Leap. Watching BTCC come around this circuit was absolutely brilliant. It wasn't live when I got to see it. It was on TV, but it was still great fun. And a 140.6 for Andrex. And to be fair, a 3-second spread in the wet is really nothing to be too ashamed about. I think we're going to have some really interesting racing going on here.
Yeah, especially this point in the qualifying session, as well as the rain is continuing to build. Obviously, the track's getting slower. It's going to prove interesting for the race, because obviously the race is going to get slower as well. The puddles that we're starting to see form around the circuit are going to be getting bigger, and we're going to be seeing more people ended up spinning round, just like
it was
who was that? I think that's Mr. Van Orman. I think if I can find him. It wasn't Mr. Van Orman.
No, it was Jardier. It was Jardier that was a Lamborghini going into the wall. The only person not to put a time on is Benizili. The tail of the field, so he's on a time lap now, and there you can already see the water just gathering on the apex of turn 1, and really the best of the track has already gone, so he's just going to have to kind of do the best he can. Oh, and again, this car just does not want to grip at all. It is just rallying around the circuit, and this is again what we're going to see, and I would imagine that the majority of the qualifying positions are pretty much set. Leon getting that time in at the crucial time to beat Jardier to the pole. And Dow King 3, Villalobos for Scott up in 5th. Very nice. 8. Great effort there in 6th position. Suomi jumped up to 7. Van Orman 8. Dakuza 9. And Nagram rounding out our top 10. As Benizili dances very nicely through 10, 11, 12. Through Hislops coming up to... I beg your pardon, that was 7, 8, 9 of Britain's. Now coming up to 10, 11, 12. And yep, it's gone too deep into 10. It's so easy to do, and you lose immense amount of momentum because it just compromises your line through Hislops, turn 11, and then you just got nothing to get through turn 12, Knickerbrook, and you lose all that momentum along this along this straight. I apologise for the coughing. I was quite unwell over the weekend. Haven't quite recovered from having commentated on Sunday for F1 and Monday for iRacing. Managed to get a day off yesterday, and here I am. A glutton for punishment back in the commentary box. But what can I say? I do it for the love of doing it. Have always and always will. What does Benizili do?
He goes 10th. 139.748. So that's a pretty good time at this stage in the session. Dakuza has also managed to pop himself up in the M6 up into 6th position, taking that away from 8th DA. So that was a pretty good lap time by him as well, and the BMW is actually pretty good in the wet. That'll be a car to keep an eye on in these conditions, as he gets a little bit wiggly there through Druids, but manages to hold that one, and coming down into Lodge Corner again, having a little bit of a wiggle as well. So we're trying to avoid the puddles as he splashes through one at the bottom of the hill there and comes across the line once again. Does he improve his lap time? This time round, he does not. No. So he's maintaining that 6th position, and as they come into the dying seconds of the session, Suomi in the Bentley is up in 5th. Now that's a solid effort.
Scott in the Bentley.
Sorry, Scott. Sorry. My apologies.
Benizili still running out there, but if he improves, I will be stunned. I mean, there was a pretty good time considering how wet the track is. And no, jumped up. Look at Andrex parked against the wall and not in a box. It's I can't be bothered to stick it in the box. I'll just put it here instead. That's made me giggle. Oh, Benizili
was still out on track, but he has jumped back to the pit garage now. So we'll just ride with Benizili as he comes through the final turn. Well, actually, second to the last corner, technically. This Deer Leap here that he's just gone through is the final turn. And he comes across the line to not improve his time. And the only person who's left out on track is Bo. So we shall watch him come through these last couple of corners. No, he won't.
No, not like that. Okay, he was pretty certain he wasn't going to improve and certainly won't now.
Nope.
Right, your official qualifying results then. Leon taking the pole against Jardier 2, Dalking 3, Villalobos 4, nice effort in the Z4. Scott 5, Dakusa 6, ADA 7, Suomi 8, Van Orman 9, Benazidi 10, Nagram 11, T-Mac 12, Typec 13, JK 14, Rodders 15, Kamasuka 16, 2 Deserpac 17, Andrex 18, Bo 19, Zal 20, Shooter in 21st, and CJB at the back. Well, that's surprising considering he qualified pretty well last week. And finds himself at the tail this week. Oh dear.
Indeed. Yep, so we're just in our little 2-minute phase at the beginning of the race. Those of you who are new to this and are watching for the first time, obviously welcome to you. But at this little 2-minute interval that we have at the beginning of the race session, it just allows the drivers to double check their car setup, make sure that they have got the correct pit strategies all set, and they are just set, ready to go for the race. So once this 2-minute interval is up, we shall get on with our manual rolling start.
Indeed. So once the 2-minute countdown has elapsed, or when everybody is ready, we will be led away. The field will be led away by Leon at 80 miles an hour, 120 kilometers an hour through to the beginning of Sector 3, which on this track is around about turn 13, Clay Hill, so just after Knickerbrook, I believe. And where the 2x2 line is reformed, and then the speed is dropped to 80 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour, 80 kilometers an hour. And then the field will be led back around to where you are looking now, past the last, past Dearly, past where the pit lane entry has begun. And then at a point Leon is ready, he can floor it, and to signify the beginning of this, what will be a 34-lap race, 35 laps, including the parade lap.
Indeed. So, any moment now, literally just as I say those words.
Perfect timing.
Come to the beginning of the race. But of course, the guys will not be going out on those green lights. So, as King-Kodiak has just described, we'll start this manual formation lap. Leon the Sick One leading the way from Jardier in second place. And it'll be interesting to see how this race will unfold with these wet conditions. I imagine that the first couple of laps are going to be absolutely chaos at a circuit like this. In these kind of conditions, the visibility is going to be greatly reduced in the spray of the cars in front of you, and obviously with a lot less traction than what the drivers are used to running in the dry. It's going to be difficult to find the grip out there to potentially stop yourself from going into the back of another driver. But hopefully the guys can keep their noses nice and clean, and we can have everybody finish the race in this round. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
And that's the thing with racing in the wet, that the conditions are not set. Of course, when you're racing in the dry, the only thing that really changes is your tyre wear and car weight through fuel usage. But of course, every lap where the rain falls, it gathers in fairly particular places, but it depends how well the cars clear that water away. So different laps can have different traction levels at pretty crucial points. It's so easy to throw the car into the grass by just catching a bit of water a little bit too hard. You aquaplane just at a moment where you're not expecting to. You may follow the same line 3 laps in a row, and on the third time through, the water bites you and throws you off into the grass. Seen it many times. I've done it several times in various occasions driving. The Ginetta G40 League was here in between seasons, I think it was 8 and 9, or 9 and, yeah, 8 and 9, and of which I was actually a part of. It was again wet here, and yeah, so it gets exceedingly slippery, but like I say, it does change lap on lap. So where are we now? We should be forming the 2x2 line fairly soon. Zal in our Soul Porsche. So they're coming through Druids now, I think. Oh, there we go. We are beginning to reform. I was actually a little bit later than I thought it would be. Now coming through the last turn. Well, they better reform quick because they're nearly back on the start-finish straight. I'm sure they should have been formed a little earlier than that, but never mind. They are reforming now. So once the pack has reformed, and look at that. The big crescendo of GT3, and Leon is floored it. We are racing here at Oulton Park. Decent start there by the green Lamborghini. That's Dalking having a look on the inside of Jardier at turn 1. No such luck at the moment. So far, so good. Cameraman pointing the wrong way. It looks like everyone has made it through on board with Benazili. Having a look down towards the Cascades. Everybody getting through okay so far. Very, very gently with the gas. Getting through turn 3. Now over the crest. Heading towards turn 4. Island Bend. And there will be a few islands of water going on out there. There's Scott in the Bentley. Coming into the banked turn 5. Shell oil corner. Really nearly pushing the Z4 through the particular turn. Is he going to have a think about it coming through 789? You've got to be pretty brave. It's very narrow through that particular chicane. No, he thinks better of that one on board. Then with the Bentley, oh, that was Villalobos. Did not get a good line. Coming through turn 8, it looked like he hit that big bollard on the centre of that particular chicane. That's Bentley then having a look on the inside, coming towards turn 10. No, he doesn't commit to the move. Dakusa right there, ready to capitalise on the mistake should it happen. Looks like everyone has got through. So far, so good.
Yeah, very good, close and clean driving by these guys. I haven't really seen anyone have any two major issues. You can see that Zhao's actually dropped down to 22nd. He was up in and around 17th, 18th at the start, so he's lost a whole bunch of positions somewhere along the line, but it certainly seems like the front end of the field.
Oh no!
Did I say that? That's Tsuomi spinning around, but oh, that's someone else getting caught there as well. I think there might be a puddle on the inside of the corner, which could potentially be spinning the drivers. Tsuomi's going to need to move out the way relatively quickly as Zhao is coming up behind him, but avoids making contact there. But that's a whole bunch of positions lost for Tsuomi. Very unfortunate at this very early stage of the race.
He was up in 9th when that happened. It was Gamasuki that had a sympathy spin with him, unfortunately. But Villalobos now is managed to get a bit of distance between himself and Scott. Scott has got a lot of pressure from Dakusa. But look up front, Leon and Jardier are very, very close together. Still less than a second. Separates the top 2 Lambos as they can now come into Shell Oil corner once again. And that very early apex then from Leon. He did not want to leave that one to chance. But Jardier was way too far back to make a move there. There you see Lambo 1, 2, 3 of Leon, Jardier, Dalking. There's the Z4 of Villalobos being chased by Scott. And then behind him is ADAs and Dakusa. So it's one of these tracks that does rely quite heavily on... Oh, CJB's had a problem. He's a couple of minutes behind everybody else. Unless he is already retired. Oh, no, there he is. So, oh, did he pit on the first lap? He must have done because he's only just come through. Turn 3. Again, CJB having trouble early on. There's Gamasuka trying to recover. Benazili coming through that same chicane. There's Van Orman. He's got breathing space 4.5. He's one of the few people that does, I imagine. Oh, just saw Dakusa right ahead of us on top of ADAs. There they are in the Lambo and the M6. Oh, and again, you saw just how the nose twitched there as Dakusa caught a bit of water. But yeah, it's really going to be down to patience and pressure. There's not any huge overtakes, certainly not on the wet. There's not going to be any massive out-braking manoeuvres. I would have thought Dalking's the first to get his name on the penalty board. He will not be the only one by any stretch that just wanders off the road and pushes track limits a little bit too hard. There's going to be quite a few more of those, I imagine.
Yep, certainly for sure. I'll just take a look at his penalty. It's just a 1 second penalty that he has at the moment, so just a very small excursion from the track that he has had so far. Hopefully that won't affect him too much later on into the race, but he's actually right behind Jardier. He's closed up onto the rear of his car as Leon, the sick one, is starting to pull away in the lead. Obviously, he is the one who's got the clear track in front of him. He can see where the puddles are starting to form much better than anyone else can, because everybody else is having to deal with some amount of spray. Dalking looks like he had a better run through the chicane there at Britain's. Better than Jardier. He's having a little bit of a look to the inside, but throws it up very quickly into the back of Jardier there, under braking for his lops, but he's managed to hopefully not inflict any damage on Jardier in front, and hopefully not inflict any damage on his own car, and he's continuing on his way as Scott is still looking all over the back of Villalobos in the Z4 in front of us here.
The amount of spray that comes off the back, I mean, that camera that we were using there is the roof camera. You can see a darn sight more up there than the drivers can if they're using in-car view. It's just a wall. There you go. It's just a wall of spray. You're brave if you're using in-car view in conditions like this. Obviously, the VR users will use that particular view, but is very, very hard. And again, look up front, Dalking and Jardier. That battle is allowing Leon to really stretch his legs. And we rather saw this last week, didn't we, where Leon got up front and just crept off into the distance. Villalobos trying to shake off Scott, but of course, whilst Dalking and Jardier are battling, they could well be joined by the Z4 and the Bentley. And then behind is ADAs and Dakusa still in their battle for 6th place. So, as you'd imagine, the fighting is good and strong at the moment. Van Ommen on the back of that particular train. So, yeah, lots of little pockets of fighting going on. But one mistake, as always, as has been highlighted. Oh, that's T-Mac and Benazili. Oh, that was very, very close. One little mistake will really shuffle up this order.
Yep, these guys seem to be probably the closest drivers at the moment as they were going side by side through Island Bend, but they both managed to survive that. I think there may have been a tiniest amount of contact, but both of them getting away with it. T-Mac getting a pretty decent drive out the exit of the Britain chicane there, coming up over the rise and down in towards Foster's, but doesn't really seem to be close enough to threaten Benazili at this stage, or shall I say, into this corner. He's getting a decent run and a decent line there through this sequence of corners there as we now come up Clay Hill. Still sat in the spray of the Lamborghini in front of him, just probably more trying to follow Benazili's line and just hoping that Benazili doesn't really do that too much, which is running deep. No, that's
Villalobos.
Yep, he's had an issue somewhere along the line. He's had a spin and it looks like he's got quite heavy damage to the front of his car as well. That's dropped him from 4th position down into 11th. Surely he's going to pit on this lap to get that damage there fixed, and yes, that's exactly what it does. But the to get the car slowed down nice and early as the pit lane speed limiter line is right there on the entrance. So that's gone and promoted Scott now up into clear air and up into 4th position. Got ADA not too far behind him, with the Dakusa still sat on the back of that Lamborghini in his M6, and Mr. Van Ommen has also lost and dropped about a second to this pair in 5th and 6th position.
Indeed, it was actually Van Ommen that won last week's race from the front, and pretty commandingly. I actually said it was Leon. My mistake, and they can quite happily kill me for that one later. But yeah, Jardier and Dalking very close in battle. Leon really doing well to just stretch his legs slowly but surely up front. And there are the top 3 Lamborghinis. Just saw the top of Leon's green Lambo there, with the lemon Lambo of Jardier doing his best to fend off Dalking. Really is having to play the defensive game from Dalking as opposed to charging off into the distance that we're used to seeing Jardier do. Scott now elevated to 4th. I'm very curious to see how the Bentley does if he is able to catch at the back of Dalking. He's got 2.3 to close down, which, you know, long way to go. 30 laps of this race to do, so plenty of time to do it. ADS and Dakusa, as we've said, still locked in battle, and Van Ommen does seem to be losing a bit of pace, unfortunately, which, I mean, it happens that the lap times aren't going to kind of improve a great deal. Well, they will improve a little. The cars will get a little lighter, but the track conditions won't come to them. Oh, is that deep by Jardier? No. I thought it was going to be a bit deep by Jardier there, but what he's doing, he knows there's water gathering on the inside of turn 1 and purposely takes a wide line to avoid it. So it looks really deep, but that's actually exactly the line he needs to take, and most people will follow it. Someone might try and dart through it to try and you know, risk it, so to speak. It's a very big risk because that water will just yank the nose of the car, very unsettling it, unless you happen to hit it dead straight, which is very hard considering where the water is. It probably won't be a risk that too many people take.
No, that's quite correct there. Just looking at the lap times as well at the moment, Jardier saying pretty much exactly the same lap time that he did on the previous lap, so he's been nice and consistent, but he is still losing time to Leon. The lap before, Leon did a 140.0, and this time around he did a 140.3, so 3/10 slower, but still he is pressing on. Tapek is close to the back of Mr. Van Ommen now, as Mr. Van Ommen had a terrible lap on the previous.
Oh, that's close!
Lap.
Oh,
and that was very, very close there from Tapek, almost going into the back of Mr. Van Ommen, but manages to avoid making contact thus far. And actually, ADAs and Dakusa here getting a little bit of side-by-side action going on. ADAs having a little bit of a look at Dakusa, but not able to make the move stick as of yet. Tapek is dropping a little bit further back from Mr. Van Ommen. Sounds like he may have been slightly lower in the rev range than he would have liked to be coming out of that previous corner. So let's jump up to Andrex because he's had a good start. He's up into 12th position. Down in 16th, I believe, for the start of the race. So he's made a whole bunch of positions off the start. Obviously, there was those spinners earlier on the first lap. He's taken 2 Desert Pack in the red Audi R8 that we can see here coming through.
Bo's in.
Yep, Bo's in for a pit stop on lap 8 out of 35.
Oh, he stalled. There he goes. He was a little slow to get going there. And Gamasuki's in again. Oh, unless Gamasuki didn't come in before. We know he had that spin. Oh, no, that was a very short stop. So that one was probably planned. We have lost someone from the race, sadly. It wasn't Suomi. He's out there somewhere.
He's there chasing down JK and CJB.
Who have we lost? Shooter. No, Shooter's still in. I don't know. I'm still hopeless at identifying who we've lost in any race. But sadly, one has gone. 21 races remain. There's still plenty of racing to have a look at. Jardier has managed to break away from Dalking up front. Suomi looking at the back of JK as we can see. But Dalki's still right there, and he's 6/10 separating the two Lambos. There you can see the gap is around about 2 seconds. Jardier's ever so slightly quicker by 4,000 previous lap. Let's see what we got. 40.4, 40.3, 40.3. So pretty consistent laps by our top 3. And Typek then on the back of Van Orman. Battle for 7th. Now just coming over the line. And these guys are less than 10, are they? About 14 seconds behind the leads. That can easily change if someone has a spin. There's that wider line again you see from Typek. Very well demonstrated just to avoid the water on the inside of turn 1. Down the hill then for Cascades. It's so hard to brake and turn in the wet. They demonstrated perfectly well. Oh, big puddle there. You saw Van Orman just hit that water. You saw how it just pulled the nose. And as he's corrected it, the rear's just let go and thrown him off. We didn't see if there was impact with the wall. The car looks in pretty good shape. We'll see better when he comes around Shell Oil Corner. But that's just one momentary lapse of concentration. You take a line so happily the previous lap, and then the next time you find water there, exactly as I was explaining before, and you're off into the wall. That gun looks okay. So Van Orman may choose to continue, but I doubt that's going to be the only time we see that one happen.
Yeah, no, the front bumper has dislodged ever so slightly on the driver's side of the front of that Lamborghini. I imagine there's probably a little bit of suspension damage as well, because I believe he did actually make contact with the wall. So that's going to be very unfortunate for Mr. Van Orman. It's just that one little mistake, he just caught that puddle, which, yeah, let out the rear tyres and sent the car off into a little bit of a spin. So that's gifted the position to Tapek, who's now got himself up into 7th place. Fortunately, Mr. Van Orman has only lost 1 position from that slight excursion. Hopefully the damage that he has incurred isn't going to be too great. That will cost him a lot of time in the pit stop. And is he actually going to be coming into the pits? It looks like he is, so could very well possibly getting that damage repaired. There's also Scott in the pits as well. He's actually had his stop already and is making his way out and driving out of the pit lane now. So quickly grab Mr. Van Orman and see how long he's actually stationary for.
That's distinctly longer than that's distinctly longer than a standard stop. So there was some damage to deal with.
Yep. So that's very unfortunate for him. It's going to cost him a whole bunch of positions, as you can see, dropping down the standings. And it's going to give him a lot of work to get back up to the position that he was previously. But we've jumped up to Dalking now. He's still trying to pressure and see if he can force Jardier in 2nd position into a mistake.
Indeed, but they have gained another couple of tenths on Leon last time around now. 1.7 that gap. So there's a little bit of breathing space for Leon, but he can't rely on it. That would close down before the race end at that pace. So he's got to sort of keep that in mind. But it's, again, you start to push that a little bit too much. Oh, and I thought Jardier was having a moment there, but that was, I think it may have been the line he was just opting to take. Yeah, you push that a little bit too hard, and it's so much easier to just throw it all away in these conditions, and it is not, you know, these can't be underestimated just how slippery this much rain makes this track. There is Scott back out in 10th then, in between two Desert Pack and Andrex. Then that's a battle for 9th place with the Audi, the Bentley and the Renault. Streaming on down towards Lodge Corner. Is he going to have a big throw up the inside? No, he doesn't opt to do that, and the tail of the Audi tries to let go on 2 Des. And he manages to keep hold of that then through Deer Leap over the line once again. Let's see what they're able to do through Old Hill Corner. Very, very cautious coming through turn 1. Not at all surprised. Through Denton's, down Cascades again. Oh, and Scott just biding his time. Is so much a game of patience driving in these conditions. But over through Lakeside. Oh, the irony of that particular straight name. Oh, Scott! Well held. Very well held. He braved the rumble strip there to try and pull the nose to rotate the car, but obviously he pulled it too much. But brilliantly caught in the Bentley.
Yep, very, very good driving there to keep hold of that one. He's still right there on the back of the Audi, and he's actually got a very, very good run and is actually taking the position away from 2 Desert Pack at this moment. Looking down his inside as we come into the next braking zone for the into Fosters and now into Hislops. So that is now Scott back up into 9th position. He's got some clear air in front of him now, as he's got a gap of over 2.5 seconds to T-Max. So now he can get on with his pace and try and see if he can close the gap to what would be. Oh, just Dowking catches the puddle there slightly in turn 1. But yeah, he's in a net 4th position at the moment. You want to be trying basically gain time on Dowking, who is the net driver in front of him. Once the whole pit stop phase is over. So yeah, this will be an interesting battle between, well, these 3 drivers if Dowking and Jardier stick close as they have been doing so far in this race.
Lovely slide there, 4-wheel slide from Dowking coming into Shallow Corner. Yeah, Leon managed to get half a second on Jardier last time around. Villalobos after his early spin in 15th on the back of Nagram. CJB right with him. You see that damage. He has been through the pits already in the Z4. So chasing the Lambo then. What was his last lap? 41.8. He gained about half a second again on Nagram last time around, and that's one way to do it. Throw the nose and catch it. It's risky, but some drivers prefer to do that. Those that prefer an oversteery setup will be a bit more at ease, you know, if there is such a phrase, in the wet. And oh, is that a little bit wide from Nagram? Oh no, that's Al! Oh no, Nagram saw there was a stranded Porsche, tried to brake, spun, and ended up hitting Zal. Of course, that was Villalobos caught up in that. Oh, that's a very unhappy looking Porsche. Suomi then trying to recover from that. I don't think Suomi caught any damage. Oh, that's unlucky. He's been given an illegal overtake. He was just minding his own business, but that's unfortunately the nature of the beast. Zal very much getting out of the way. Oh no, could it go any more wrong for Zal? Oh, that's a very sorry. It looks more like a Beetle now.
Yep, that is not a happy looking Porsche whatsoever. That was very, very unfortunate. I think Nagrom just saw the Porsche there facing the wrong way, trying to turn around. And I think panicked slightly and possibly caught a puddle which sent him round. And then yeah, Villalobos pretty much had nowhere to go. And he did also have, I think it was Suomi behind him. There was another Lamborghini. Oh no, Suomi, don't spin there. Oh, can he keep it out of the wall? Oh, he has just about. He's managed to get the car fired back up. He needs to now engage reverse and get the car. There we go, a little bit further. But he's obviously trying to do it without actually reversing too far onto the track. He's now got a little bit of space to actually do that, so he can now get back underway again. But that's very unfortunate for Suomi there, because I think he was involved in that accident. So Shooter's now into the pits to actually make his stop. 2 Desert Packers come into the pits to make his stop. Nagrom, as you would expect, has come into the pits to make his stop after the contact down at Shell Oil's corner. And, well, It goes without saying that Zal's going to be coming into the pits with a Porsche looking like that, but the pit crew do a fantastic job of repairing that car nice and quickly.
It's like Lego.
So, yeah, a whole bunch of guys into the pits to repair the damage that we saw down at turn 5 from that incident.
A great shame, but we are down to 19 drivers now. Oh, and that's... So, who's that? That's Suomi. Yeah, of course, with that incident he's been caught up in. Is getting out of the way of those that would be trying to get past him under blue flags. Nicely done. Back up to the challenge for the lead. As the Jardier's now closed in half a second, actually 6/10 on Leon. So Leon being reeled in a little bit, but still Dalking hanging on right in there, keeping the pressure on Jardier. So Jardier can't just focus forward. He's got to keep an eye on behind. CJB now up to 10th. Considering his early pit stop as well. Andrex brings the Renault in. We're not even halfway. Oh, CJB struggling to get that one slowed down coming into Lodge, but manages to do so. Van Orman, last week's race winner, chasing on down towards turn 1. What's he going to do? Surely he's not going to think about an inside move. No, he doesn't. He knows better than to try that. Bides his time. He's going to... The next big break is only his turn 5, but he's not even going to wait till then. That's somebody. That's 2 Desert Pack that was on the grass. Oh no! Whoa! Well held. That was brilliantly held.
Drivers.
Well played, both of them indeed. Van Ommen and CJB. That was brilliant, but that has left probably both of them with damage. But you can see the front for the front bumper dislodged on CJB's Lambo there. We'll see if that's going to slow Van Ommen down. It doesn't look to be at the moment as they come through Shell Oil Corner and heading towards turn 789, the Britain's chicane. And that's Van Ommen now up to 9th position.
Yep, he's making good progress after his incident that he had earlier in the pit stop. He was dropped down into around 14th, 15th position. He's now clawed his way back up a good 5-6 positions.
Oh, we've lost our Bentley.
Back up into the top 10.
We've lost our
Don't
Bentley.
say that.
We have.
Don't say that.
We have.
No.
He's gone. He's one of our absentees.
That's very unfortunate because it's nice to jump back over to that Bentley just to get some nice engine notes.
Yep.
With the M6 instead.
Wow, Dakusa's had a problem. He's now 8 seconds. Oh no, beg your pardon. It was Dalking that was on the back of Jardier. My mistake. Dakusa though. Yeah, minding his own business there. He's so 10 odd seconds behind Dalking, but this battle, the top 3, Jardier's had a much worse lap last time around. That's thrown him back into the clutches of Dalking. Leon then back up to 2 seconds, near enough between the two. As the 3 Lambos then, looks like they're gaining on. Can't quite see who that was. Well, all I can really see is spray and brake lights. Oh no, no. I had a screen freeze there. Apologies. Thankfully back up. It is indeed 2 Des back. The lead 3 are catching up too. I thought 2 days had already been lapped by these guys, but indeed not. Excuse me. I am trying to mute my mic before I cough, but sometimes they rather catch me out. But the Audi will be getting out of the way unless... no, come on, jump. It's really difficult. They don't need to just jump off the track completely. They just need to bleed out of the throttle. And... Oh, 2 days, come on. Oh! That's going to hold Leon up. That was a little bit unfortunate. Again, he doesn't want to just throw himself off into the grass because, you know, he could have a major incident coming back on track. But that did lose Leon. Only about 3/10 in the end, so nothing too bad. But again, Dalking is still on the rear wing of Jardier. He's been there all race long, and he doesn't seem intent to let him go.
Nope. And I probably wouldn't either in these kind of conditions. Anything can happen, as we've seen so far in this race. Just takes one slight error, one slight lapse of judgment, or a slight lapse of concentration just momentarily, and that could be your race flipping over on its head. Jump up to T-Mac as well in 8th position, chasing down Benazili for 7th place. These 2 Lamborghinis been going at it for a few laps now that I've been watching on the leaderboard there on the left-hand side. There hasn't been any change of positions. They've just been running relatively close to each other, just like Dalking and Jardier up at the front. Looks like a couple of other drivers are getting relatively close to one another as well. CJB is actually in the pit lane. and is going to be repairing the front of his Lamborghini. Bit unusual to see CJB this far down the field. He's been pretty strong in previous races.
He's but it's gone horribly wrong for him this time. I was just trying to identify who else it's gone, as well as Scott. It's Bo. Is the other one gone? Jardier in from second in the Lemon Lamborghini. We haven't seen any off-track excursions from him, so it should be a pretty short stop for him.
right around the halfway mark as well. So it seems like a pretty routine stop. Although he is stationary for a reasonable amount of time, why isn't he going yet?
Oh dear, that could be very costly.
Changing tyres,
but could have done.
maybe,
He's
or
away.
Potentially preparing a bit of damage that he may have picked up. It doesn't look like there's any damage.
Unless it's engine damage, because he's had that problem before, where he has caused some engine damage and that has been repaired.
Potentially, yeah.
It's the one thing we can't really see. So back underway in 8th position then for Jardier, 4.2 behind T-Mac, 20 seconds ahead of his teammate. Oh, speaking of, there is Van Orman now clear of competition around him to try and close that gap down. T-Mac on the back of Bettizilli, battle for 6th place. Whoa, and there's that 4-wheel slide again. I'm not convinced that's the quickest way of doing it. It's stylish, I'll give you that, but not the ideal way of taking Shell Oil's corner. Now coming through Britain's again. Big clunk off of that first apex of turn 7. Now over the crest, along Hilltop Straight. You can just about see coming through Foster's. That will be Typek, who's having a pretty decent run, up in 5th position at the moment. Now through Hislop's into Knickerbrook. Oh, and a big slide. Leon is in from the race lead. So if he has a pretty quick stop, Dowking as well. So if their stops are pretty quick, they could potentially jump. Okay, that's one way to do it. They could potentially jump as Jardier. But again, they're in for a while. That's interesting. Decou's
possible change of tyres. I reckon it's a change of tyres.
That would. Oh, that was. I think that was quicker from Leon. He should retain the lead. Decou's is in as well. Where is Jardier? There he is.
Jardier.
Wow, a lot of people in. T-Mac, Benazili, Decuza, Dowking, and Leon. Leon is out. Oh, was that? No, that was Dowking. I've gotten excited there. But that battle for what would probably be second is going to resume. Actually, Jardier, we thought he had a very long stop. He's actually gained a bit of time. But Leon, once again, ahead of Jardier by about 2 seconds. So they all were in the pits for almost the same length of time. And your news race leader is actually Aid the Ace.
Yep, and here he is coming through the British chicane. Yep, a little bit deep there, but I think their guys have been changing tyres. It's right around the halfway mark as well that they're doing it. So, and with the length of the pit stops, it kind of makes sense to do it at this kind of stage. Obviously, the guys have managed to build themselves out enough of a gap as well to actually make the tyre change. So, Aid the Ace holds the lead for the moment from Tapek, who isn't too far, about 4 seconds behind, and then 4 seconds behind him is Leon, who is our net race leader at the moment. But yeah, Jardier is come out just ahead of Dowking. It seems like the closest guys on track at the moment, as JK is in the pits again, I believe. I believe he did come and make a stop earlier on. He's now back out on track. And Mr. Van Orman is 6.5 seconds behind Decuza.
Aid the Ace is just giving himself a speeding in the pit lane penalty.
Oh, he's not, has he? He has. Get cool on that. So 10 seconds penalty for him, which is probably going to be quite costly towards the end of the race. Obviously, the little 1 second that Dowking has isn't really going to affect things too much. It's pretty easy to negate that by getting the gap to the other driver, but a 10-second penalty, that is a lot more difficult.
Away he goes. Van Orman is the only one in the 40s. Oh, beg your pardon. Jardier got into the 40s this time around. Oh, we've lost another. Who've we just lost? Again, I'm no good. I can see the red flash. Oh, I spotted the red flash this time when the driver drop. I can't see who it is at the moment. Andrex on the back of Villalobos. Battle for 10th between the Z4 and the Renault. Just behind is Shooter in, or position-wise behind is Shooter in the M6. There's Zal actually in the background of that shot. I don't know who it is that we've lost at the moment. Hopefully I'll be able to identify that later. Suomi on the back of Gamasuki. Battle for 14th between the two Lambos, and again Gamasuki just really struggling to keep that car settled. Is Suomi going to have a think about it coming into turn 1? You'd be a nutter to try to do so there. No, bides his time again. Oh, and that's Suomi much quicker on the cameraman. Come on, there we go.
Thank you.
Yeah,
he's got the position.
Yeah, Gamasuki backed out of that. He did not have a good run out of Old Hall Corner. And I think he just backed out of that, knew that, well, he didn't fancy going side by side through Cascades. I don't blame him either in these conditions. But already making his presence known on the back of Suomi. He'll try and hang on to the back of the white and pink Lambo. We'll see if he's... Oh, that's very deep. But jumping back to this battle then for 10th. Z4 versus Renault. Andrex had a pretty good drive, but couldn't use that extra momentum out of Druids. Out of Knickerbrook, rather. Now coming up to Druids through Water Tower. And Andrex absolutely shoving the Z4 along. Is he going to have a think about it coming into Lodge? He's getting alongside Villalobos then. He's going to have the inside line. You've got to have some stones to do it. Is he going to go too wide? Is he going to get it done? He's going to have to do it in the corner. And that is a nice and clean overtake for Andrex. But now he's going to have to fend off the Z4 when they come through. Turns 1 through 5. Nicely done. And there's the yellow BMW of Shooter. Oh, steady Andrex. He knows how to tackle this on the wet, but Villalobos didn't have a good run through Old Hall. Now through Denton's down towards Cascades. Nice and settled though. You're not seeing a lot of the twitching going on between these two cars that we've seen in some of the Lambos. Oops, Andrex, don't go on the grass. That's a recipe for disaster. But Villalobos does look like he's really struggling to keep the pace of the Renault at the moment.
Yep, certainly does. Guys down in the 130,
wow,
143s, 144s, but the guys up the top end of the field are doing 39s.
Ooh.
Obviously, the fresh tyres, that fresh rubber, they're pushing on. Obviously, this time around they'll have the tyres up to better temperatures as well, which will enable them to set these quicker lap times that they're actually doing. Obviously, with the manual formation lap, they probably lost a fair amount of tyre temperature through that. Despite trying to weave and keep and maintain the temperature there. So these guys making use of the grip that they have, as Leon the sick one is coming up towards the back of his teammate Tapak, who probably won't want to hold him up too much, as the Jardier has taken a good half a second out of Leon the sick one on the previous lap. So gap at the front starting to close down a little bit.
Very much so. Leon actually took 2 seconds out of Taipei last time around, but Taipei has not been through the pits yet, so those tyres are going to be feeling very, very second-hand by now. Coming into Foster's, now Hislops. You see Leon very, very delicate through that area. It has given him a decent line then. He's going to be on the back of Taipei now, who is going to come out on top. Well, Taipei let him go, but it's quite a fast section here. You don't want to be trying to bleed out the throttle mid-corner, son. Oh, that's going to be very twitchy for Leon. Taipei keeps his foot in it. I wouldn't be at all surprised to see Taipei peel into the pits this time around. Into Lodge corner again, and Leon's dived on the inside. Whether Taipei intentionally left the door open or not. Leon sees the opportunity through. He goes, does Taipei pit? No, he doesn't. Now, is he going to try and hold up Jardier? Because Jardier is now very, very close. The top three, including Taipei, separated by less than a second.
Yep, but Leon the sick one wouldn't have wanted the overtake to be that difficult. It would have been better if Taipei actually let his teammate go through on the straight rather than into or through a corner. It's allowed Jardier to get closer, and he's now right on the back of Taipei, as we can see, looking to the inside as we come into Island Bend. Taipei diving out from that move and backing out there. That's going to put him right into the firing range of Dowking as well, who isn't too far behind. So Jardier has made some net gains here. He's now gone from about 2.5 seconds in and around the pit stops that we had earlier to under a second and a half of Leon the sick one as well, as now Dowking is right onto the rear wing of Typek as it gets very, very squirrely coming out the exit of Britain's Bend over the hilltop, coming down in towards Foster's. Will he look to the inside? He's having a bit of a glance down there, but not able to make the move stick. Typek running a little bit deep though. This could potentially allow Dowking to switch back underneath him. Nope, Typek's going to hold the line and hold that position. That's going to hold up Dowking massively, who's on the much fresher tyres, is going to have much, much better grip than the green Lamborghini in front of him. And you can see Jody already running off the way. That is a fantastic move down the inside there by Dowking to come up into third position and clear Typek. Surely Typek's going to have to pit soon in order to avoid losing too much time to certainly these guys, but also the other drivers that he was battling with earlier on before the pit stop phase actually begun.
You've got to have some stones to throw it on the inside of Druids in the wet. That was very nicely done by both drivers, to be fair. No impact then, and Typek does indeed finally bring that bright green Lambo in from fourth position. But yeah, that cost Dowking badly. But that lead is now right underneath a second. So Jardier is getting himself right into a prime position to attack Leon the sick one. Dowking is 3 seconds back. That gap can be closed down with the time remaining in the race. We've still got 13 odd laps left, or 12 and a half or so. So plenty of racing still to do. AD8 getting into the 39s now. So as Typek comes out in 7th, so that's a pretty decent position to come out of the pits. Nicely done. AD8 is charging rather. He's got 24 seconds, 25 seconds to get into the lead. That may be a bit of a tall ask, but he's on leader's pace, so let's not lose sight of him. He's got just shy of 2 seconds to gain to Van Orman. Van Orman's now up to 5th, so that's proving into a decent run for him. So lots of racing still to do in our pack. There is Typek now, freshly pitted. He wasn't in the pits long, so I don't think he took tyres. So he just did the mandatory pit stop and got back going again. So he may struggle to maintain pace against those that have. Oh, that's a little bit slippery there for Aid. Coming through that chicane. But there you see Van Norman that Aid the Ace has been trying to chase down. He took out 1.3 seconds from Van Norman last lap. This one may be a little bit under that. Looking at how much he's struggling a little bit. Here come the leaders to complete lap 23. That gap teetering around 1.2 seconds. Let's see with the lap time 39.7, 39.8. Dowking 39.4. Wow, that's a stunner then from Dowking. So top 3 Lambos again, but Dowking really showing the pace. He could well get involved in that lead battle before the day is done.
Yep, obviously managing to get past Typek. He's now got himself into clear air, so seeing that he's dropped back from the guys in front, obviously he's going to be pressing on to try and close that gap back up again now. Jumping back further down the field to Shooter in 12th position. He's onto the back of Villalobos in the older Z4, the older generation BMW that is running here in the field. And Shooter, we haven't seen too much of Shooter this season. Obviously the league coordinator for Tier 1. He's having a relatively decent run here, grabbing a decent haul of points if he can hold on to this possession. He'll get some even more points if he does manage to get himself up in front of Villalobos. And that is 2 Desert Pack that we can see in the background there in the red Audi. Now just jumping further up, we've got Typek sounding quite slow coming up the exit of the Shell Oils corner there, the old hairpin of turn 5. Mr. Van Orman, I think, did he have I heard a slight crunch there. Did someone clip the barrels? The barrels on the inside?
There's no obvious damage on Van Orman's car. So, ooh, that didn't look a good line. Possibly. I can't say I heard a crunch particularly. We've lost another. Sadly, Zal has decided to call it a day. Not really surprised considering... oh, so is CJB. We're down to 16 in our race. So everybody that you can see in that box is all that we have left. Oh, Gamasuki, don't go too deep. Battle for 14th. With so this will be JK, Gamasuki, and Suomi. Assuming that's Suomi that's up front. Can't really see in the spray, but yes, it is. Now coming through Island Bend into Shell Oils corner. Wow, Suomi really defending because he's committed to the apex so early. That's just sending him into a 4-wheel drift coming through that bank turn. JK already closing in quite hard on this pack. That's the leaders coming up to them. So, this is going to be interesting. Oh, Kamasuki getting a pretty bad line out of Britain's chicane. Oh, this is going to get interesting. Side by side coming into Foster's. Oh, JK, you're going to lose out on that one. But, yeah, flash of the lights from Leon. Get out of the way. But they can't. Got nowhere to go. Now the Audi gets out of the way.
Gets out of the way as well. Now Gumasuki gets out of the way, so these are going to let all the leaders through. Actually, JK's benefiting from all this because he's now on the throttle after Leon is going in the 2 positions up into 14th. Yeah. Jardier's now managed to get through, so it's now Dowking who is going to be looking through. He's got past his teammate Swarmy. He's given a flash of the lights there to Gamasuki. He manages to get through those 2 relatively quickly, so it's now just JK, the last driver, that he now needs to clear. But that hasn't really impacted the gap between the leaders all that much. However, it has changed around the positions of the 3 guys at the back of the field. Oh, good save there by Dowking as he clipped the puddle there on the inside of turn 1, but has managed to catch that and continue on his way without too much drama. There you can see JK in front of us, and beyond them is the lead battle of Jardier and Leon. So just coming down real quick to Villalobos and to Desert Pack. Battle for 12th position. A shooter has managed to get himself past the BMW of Villalobos, so there's now 2 Desert Pack turn to try and make that position. Coming out of Knickerbrook and up Clay Hill. Turn 13. Shortly going to be passing the water tower through turn 14 and then up into Druids. 2 Desert Pack having a little bit of a look to the inside, but there are puddles on the inside of both of those apexes. So it does need to be cautious of those as it catches the curb there, which drifts the car over to the right hand side of the circuit. Coming now through into the second to last turn. Villalobos running a little bit deep. 2 Desert Pack this time. Much need to coming through the turn, but isn't really in a position to make a move into turn 1, which is a passing opportunity in normal circumstances, but here in the wet, where that large puddle was formed on the inside, it makes it much more difficult to actually pass safely through that because of the aquaplaning that the drivers do experience once they do catch those puddles. So we're right on board with 2 Desert Pack at the moment, so he continues to try and pressurise Villalobos in front of him.
Oh, he had a pretty decent run. There's a lot of mud there on the inside of Island Bend, but does 2 Des gets right underneath that rear wing, can't use any additional pace he may or may not have there. As we're seeing 39s propping up again by our leaders, so they're getting really back on the pace. Now through the Britain's turns again. Can the Audi usurp that Z4 from 12th into Foster's? He's going to have a look on the inside. That's a big move. Can he get it done? Yes, he does. Villalobos saw that one coming and adjusted his line accordingly. Nicely done by both drivers. Shooter did actually get nearly 2.5 seconds between himself and these two, so he wasn't wasting any time getting some distance for himself. That's what 2 Des has got to close down if he wants 11th. Oh, wait!
The ace. Is that a spin?
And he stole
down at Shell Oil corner. He's just got it going again. I think he may have had a spin coming out of Islands Bend, but he's now dropped a load of positions and down into 8th.
Oh, what a shame. He was matching the leader's pace, but exactly as we were saying before, just one mistake is all it takes to just completely undo. And that mistake is so easy to do. He's now just got to calm himself down, get back in the rhythm, and he could have gained these two quite easily if he just gets back into that rhythm. Typek up to 6th, fending off Benazili. But Typek, we don't think, took on tyres on the last pit stop. Well, he was out of the pits pretty damn quick if he did. So Benazili looking to try and get that 6th spot through all the spray. Well, coming through Druids. Very, very tentative on the gas, and I'm not surprised. Warwick Bridge, there is AD Ace in the background. So as long as he didn't pick up any damage, he should be able to get back into the rhythm, back up to the pace that he needs to challenge these two for potentially 6th.
Yep, I'm hoping there just wasn't any contact between Tapek and the Ace as Benazili closed up onto the back of Tapek relatively quickly. Obviously, Tapek may have made a mistake and might have been slow somewhere coming out of one of the corners. Jumping up to the leaders now, though, as we just caught Villalobos there in the background, not facing in the correct direction,
no,
not really moving all that far, but Jardier has managed to close up onto the back of Leon the sick one here. Got the gap down to 7 or 8 tenths of a second now. So we'll see at the end of this lap just how much time he actually gained on this lap. That potentially could have been Villalobos having a spin somewhere just in front of Leon, which cost him time. Although, having said that, it wasn't that long ago that there was actually getting past those drivers. Actually, no, sorry, it was JK Suomi and Gamasuki, wasn't it? The drivers we saw, the lead drivers.
Having that battle, yeah, yes, absolutely.
So yeah, Villalobos continuing to struggle, it seems. Sadly
so, as we can see, another pair of back markers that these two are bearing down on it pretty quickly. Dalking has lost a bit of time off the back of Jardier. It's Tudez and Shooter having their battle for 11th. They've got the leaders bearing down on them. They just need to bear that in mind. It's likely that they will catch them before the checkered flag falls. And the Audi taking his time very tentatively through Shellower's corner. There is the lead 2. Closing in as quickly as they can on that battle. And Dow King is now 4 seconds behind Jardier.
Oh no, Tudez got deep. He's on the grass there on the inside. He needs to be careful with his rejoin.
He spun it. Oh no, he just kind of... I heard the engine die then, so I wondered if he'd spun, but he did not want to be involved at all, did he, in that leaders battle? So that's cost him a colossal amount of time on Shooter. There's Dalking coming through, so Tudez is going to have to jump out of the next Lambo's way. Let's see what he does. Does he bleed out the throttle here? No.
Nope.
He's not really close enough yet to be holding him up, so he's quite right to carry on his way. But that gap has decreased again between the two lead Lambos. Once again, Jardier and Leon crossing swords. Jardier making himself known in the mirrors, but probably getting out of the spray so he can see where the apex is. They're bearing down on Shooter. Let's see how well the yellow M6 gets out of the way. Over the line they come. Another 2 tenths in Jardier's favour. You can clearly see how close he is now. What does Shooter do? He too jumps onto the grass. Careful. And rejoins fairly safely. He will have Dalking on him fairly soon. Yeah, Dalking lost 1.3 seconds off the back of Jardier. So he's either struggling in traffic or struggling in general now. You just saw the back of the shot was Dalking's actually still behind Tudez. So... the battle for 6th continues. Typek and Benazili. ADAs hasn't closed in on this particular battle as yet. Benazili looking the inside. No, that door gets shut in his face by Typek. Both of them sliding around that lodge corner. Then through Gamasuki in the pits again. We've lost Villalobos, so we've another casualty of the rain. Gamasuki, he's going for an achievement on how many pit stops in this race, it would seem. And there he is. So, alas, not going well for our black and green Lamborghini.
No, definitely not. Jardier is continuing to try and pressurise Leon, the sick one. See if he can get himself back up into first position so far. Leon, the sick one, is sat there like a rock, refusing to move. As you can see in the background, Dalking losing even more time to the back markers of Shooter and 2 Desert Pack. So he hasn't managed to clear either of those 2 drivers as of yet. So coming across the line once again, and the guys with their lap times only just a few thousandths of a second separating these guys. We just saw there in the background actually Benazili and Tapek very, very close to each other. Benazili on the back of Tapek.
Indeed.
Seems like that these 2 guys and that lead battle are the closest battles that we have on track at the moment.
Oh, Benazili was taking an interesting line coming through Water Tower and Druids, but manages to keep it on the road. Now coming into Lodge again. That's cost Benazili a little bit of time. And again, the tail of that green Lambo does not want to behave. Tyberg has been fighting with that all race long. But continue they do. Over the line they come. And still less than half a second that separates this battle for 6th position. Indeed, everyone else is fairly big snap there. But that'll cost Benazili a little bit. But he continues. He kept the car facing the correct direction. I see our top 5 drivers all in the 140s. Dakuta and Van Ommen, again, very close. Was at about 14 thousandths in it. It was 13 thousandths between Jardier and Leon. So very similar pace from our top guys at the moment. It's a shame they're not all involved in that same battle. But still less than a second between our top 2.
Yep. Just jump back up to those 2 drivers now as they're coming down through Lodge Corner and up into Deer Leap to complete yet another lap. So we're now on lap 32 out of 35. Giving these drivers just a few more laps remaining. So Jardier doesn't have a whole huge amount of time in order to try and take that lead. Don't think he's going to push too hard and actually settle for the result and take the points that he will earn in this current position, considering the gap in points that he has in terms of the Drivers' Championship. So in some ways it is better to play safe, as he was getting very sideways there through the exit of Island Bend. Yeah, sometimes it's better to just play safe and take the points from the position that you're currently sat in. But Kamasuki is there further up the field, not far up in front, which could potentially play into the hands of these 2 drivers.
Yeah, I was going to say,
pull on out the way and wanted to have no part in the in that being detrimental.
Yeah, he just put his pit lane limiter on and got out of the way. It seemed like his engine rods were through the floor there. Yeah, Jardier, I think he's just having a bit of fun getting the tail out, but it's a little bit risky if that's the game you're playing. Shooter behind 2Des now. After the kind of shuffling around we saw previously. It was 2Des fighting last time.
He was.
Oh, it was Shooter.
The back of Shooter, and then he had this mistake.
So yes, indeed. So 2Des ahead of Shooter now. 411. There is Gamasuki. Oh, he's got no back. He's got no rear wing.
That's why he's going so slow.
Yeah, that'll be it. So there's nothing to do with pit lane limiter at all. He's oh goodness me. He's there's not going to be many spare parts left in that garage. He's now going to have the ice cream. That's yeah. In he comes. I would give him his due. He's going to get points if he crosses the line. So you know, I would imagine that's pretty much the only reason he's carrying on. Because yeah, you may as well just kind of get out and get someone else's car at this stage. He's been in that many times. Jardier, despite the slight sliding going on, he still remains within a second of Leon. 3 laps to go here at Oulton Park. And that battle, he's just keeping enough pressure on Leon, just reminding Leon he's still there, but not able to or not willing to, either or. Exactly as you say earlier, Yorkie may well be settling for second. And with the championship lead he's got, and again, so easy just to snatch a wheel, catch a puddle, and spin round and lose everything. Oops! And Jardier caught that one very nicely. Remains less than 7 tenths behind Leon. Through Water Tower into Druids again. Very tentative again. Nicely done. That's more sideways than they'd probably like. But that's the nature of what they're racing in. Now into Lodge. Oh, again, just very, very squirrely, very nervous on the gas through Deer Leap. And we have got 3 laps to go. 2 laps to go. What's right first time?
Yep, and Jardier, as you can see from the lap times, has managed to take a decent chunk out of Leon. Actually watching him through the chicanes of Britons, through turns 10, 11 and 12, he just seemed to be that little bit neater. So I think he's actually starting to turn up the wicket a little bit, see if he can apply a little bit of pressure to Leon in front of him and see if he can actually potentially try and battle and take this win away from that green Lambo of Leon the Sick One in front of him. Yep, getting very, very close to the grass there on the exit of Island Bend, but managing to keep it on the black stuff and keep the car facing in the right direction. So we now come into corners 7, 8, 9 of Britain's chicane, getting quite nicely through that, and again seems to be holding a pretty good pace to Leon. Coming into the braking zone once again. There you can see slight different line between the two. Jardier opening up the corners a little bit better for himself, coming out through the exit here. Both of them taking slightly a tighter line on the exit, as there is a puddle that has formed on the exit around that rumble strip on the usual racing line. So the guys are trying to avoid that, as well as avoiding the puddles on the inside of both of those apexes. I think Leon's going to probably have the slightly better traction and a better run coming off of that corner. Didn't really got the car straightened a little bit better. Coming to here again, Jardier closing up quite nicely, and then in the traction zone, Leon the Sick One pulling away a little bit, and we're on to the final lap of the race.
Yes, indeed we do, and there's another 10th in Jardier's favour this time around, but he's got to get past the very experienced Leon, and that's going to be no easy feat in these conditions. Through Denton's into Cascades for the final time for our lead pair. Now back on the gas, avoid the puddles, keep it on the black stuff as best you can. Through Lakeside into Island Bend. We've seen a few people make a few mistakes here, and no such problems for these two. Then into Shell Oil's corner. Is Jardier going to kick the tail out? No, not if he's going to challenge to the lead. He's getting very, very close. Keeping the pressure very much in place at the moment. Through turn 6 into the Britain's S's 7, 8 and 9. Both of them taking near identical lines. And Jardier having to get a bit of opposite lock in there. Less than half a second between them. Jardier getting out of the spray and making his car known to the lead car of Leon. Into Foster's, into Hislop's, into Knickerbrook. And it's now 3/10 between the two. Can Jardier just find that? Can he force that mistake? And he gets a bit of a wiggle on the exit of turn 12. Now through Clay Hill into Water Tower. He's going to have to rely on a mistake in that final turn. Into Druids. Leon just has to keep it steady through these last few corners, which is easier said than done when you've got someone bearing down on you. Into Lodge Corner for the last time. He's gone with that early apex. Can Jardier get the drive he needs? He's not going to get enough traction. It's very sideways. It's going to be close, but not quite there. Flash of the lights from both of them. Leon, the Sick One, takes the win here at Oulton Park. Jardier, a very close second position. Dalkey was challenging that top two, but fell away in the closing stages to take third. Very nicely done to Kuta. We haven't seen him for a while in the lead BMW. He's going to take fourth position. Nicely done from that. We've lost another from this race, unfortunately. So only 14 people. Oh, Gamasuki. Oh, mind you, Gamasuki would have already finished. He would have already crossed the line, wouldn't he? So he's probably crossed the line and ditched it. Van Orman, last week's race winner, takes a very healthy 5th position in his Lamborghini. Then Typak is going to take 6th position. There he is in the next bright green Lambo. Coming through Druids, then heading down to Lodge. They'll be happy to get the wet stuff behind them. And nice and gently through that last turn. A bit of a wiggle on as he crosses the line. Then it's going to be 8. Oh, what might have been for 8 the ace. Even that 10-second penalty is not going to mean anything, as it's oh no, will do. Benazili had closed in. Yeah, Benazili gets elevated to 7th because of that 10-second penalty 8 had. That does indeed elevate it. Benazili up to 7th. 8 down to 8th. Then there's Andrex in the Renault. I think he's the last man on the lead lap, possibly. It might be T-Mac actually. There is Andrex in 9th. Oh no, it was Andrex the last man on the lead lap. And there are your confirmed winners, and my voice has pretty much had it now.
Yep. Certainly sounding like it is on the rougher side, and it does sound like you give it a good washing of water, some Lemsip, and a nice bit of rest as well.
So there it is, your confirmed finishes. Leon 1, Jardier 2, Dalking 3, Dakuza 4, Van Almen 5, Type X6, Ben Italy 7, ADA's 8, Andrex 9, T-Mac 10, Tudes 11, JK 12, Shooter 13, Suomi 14, and retired our well, still in the server at least, Gamasuki and CJB. We lost quite a few throughout the race. Can I leave the interviews to you this time? Because my voice has had it.
Yeah. Yeah. Why not? Just bring them into the
let's see who
into
we
the box.
Yeah, let's see who we can find. Let us see. Let's first of all get who's ready to speak to us. Who? Oh, we have Leon, Van Almen, Dalking, and Jardier. Let's grab.
What a comeback, man!
Yes, yes, yes. The commentators, well, my game at least, is to interrupt someone's conversation when they're in the ready to interview box. Ha! Got you this time. All right, go on then, Yorkie. You've got 5, and Andrex also joined us, so all yours, sir.
Okay, who shall we start off with first? Let's go with our race winner, Leon the Sick One. Pole position from flag to finish. What shall I say? Lights to finish. Lights to flag, they say. You take the race win. How was that race for you? Pretty tense, I can imagine.
Yeah, I was so happy that I finally had the balls to push in quali and get the pole. It's so important to get a pole position, and after that it was just running lap after lap. Jardier and Dalking were doing amazing as well, and I think I saw Jardier go in, and I was like, okay, he's gonna try an undercut. I better pit as well, and I came out in front of him, and I was pretty confident that I would take it, because I know that you can get as close as like half a second, then it comes to a stop almost. So I was just focusing on not making any mistakes, and also I was really worried about the bat markers, because every time I hit bat markers or something, I lost so much time towards Jardier, and that allowed him into the slipstream. But I got a win, and I got a pole position in quality. That's what I'm most happy about, actually. And congrats to Jardier and Dalking for doing amazing, and also Omen. I was a little bit sad Omen didn't join us up in the top, but amazing race for him too, man.
Yeah, very good stuff. Obviously, we were watching the battle throughout, and yeah, we saw you have that. It wasn't really a moment as such, but you came across 3 bat markers all fighting for the last 3 positions in the race. I imagine nerves were running pretty high when you came across those.
Yeah, I was so worried, because I know no one would want to give it up, but eventually they did. And after the next lap, I saw I was 1.6 second down on my delta, so I lost 1.6 second, and I think that allowed him into the slipstream. So I was really worried about the next upcoming. That was my biggest concern, actually, the bat markers. But I managed to do it anyway, so I'm happy.
Yeah, well, congratulations to you. A very well-deserved win, a very solid drive. Let's move on to second place, Jardier. How are you feeling after that race, sir?
Well, it was amazing. I mean, it was very hard race. It was so hard because Leon and Dalking had amazing pace. It was like with Leon, like one lap he was 10 faster, another lap I was 10 faster. So it was like exchanging the lap times, so we were still on the same distance. And as Leon said, like I tried to undercut, I tried to change the tires. I was hoping I will be the only one maybe or something. And then I was just kind of hoping. I was just wondering what will happen with the back markers, as you could see, because there was like one time where we had 3 brake markers all around the race. There. It was kind of hard. Leon lost the time, I lost the time a bit, and then another back marker, Leon lost a little bit of time. I got closer, and yeah, as Leon said, I experienced in the first 20 minutes, I experienced what Leon said with the dirty air, because Dalking, every time he got closer, he was losing it in the fast corners. And when I got close to Leon, I had no chance in the fast corners, because the dirty air was doing a lot of mess. I couldn't see over the screen and everything, so it was well deserved. It was absolutely amazing pace, and I absolutely had no chance for overtaking anywhere close until the last lap, of course.
Yeah, I was going to say, were you pushing in those last few laps, the last few moments? I was kind of speculating that you may settle in for second position, but then you did start to close up the gap a little bit more and seem to apply a little bit of pressure.
Yeah, I was trying to make it safe, you know, it's better be second than destroying both of our races. So I was just, you know, if Leon wouldn't do any mistake, I wouldn't go for any attack. So I was just trying to make him the mistake, he didn't, so I was just settled for the second place there.
That's fair play, and another solid result for you as well. Still retaining that podium streak that you've had so far in this season. Dalking, 3rd place, solid result for you. How are you feeling after that race?
Yeah, happy. I'm happy with that. It was they were running an amazing pace, you know. I was on the limit when I was behind Jardier, and then had a little bit extra after the pit stop, and I dropped off. But then I just settled for 3rd. I thought, it's a podium.
That's fair enough to play the safe card there, but even still, good and solid pace for you. How was the wet conditions in terms of like the standing water and that you were coming across around the circuit?
Yeah, it weren't too bad at the beginning for like the first 10 laps, but then after that, if you caught it wrong, your car was completely sideways. It's so easy to lose it. You have to be so careful. And like I was on the limit literally every lap. I think turn 1 was the worst, because if you took too much of that, too much on the inside, it would just spin you around. So
yeah, we could see that puddle building up over the course of the race. But yeah, solid drive by you to get yourself another podium position as well. Certainly help you with the championship, and probably that should pop you ahead of your teammate Salome as well for 3rd in the Drivers' Championship.
Yeah, I need that win. I'm always the prize, man.
I'm sure it'll come very soon.
Yeah.
Keep pushing, my man.
Thanks.
Mr. Van Orman, we'll come to you. And you were having a pretty good solid race to start off with, and then you had a slight touch with a puddle which kind of sent you off into the wall. Did you incur much damage from that?
Yeah, so first of all, I actually joined the Ready to Interview box just to congratulate the podium, so there you go. For me, I think it was lap 10 or something, 12, I don't know.
It was around that,
I just made a mistake, went into the wall, had not too much damage. I think it was 4 or 5 in the front, that's it. And I thought, you know what, let me pit and take new tires as well, which was actually a pretty good call, because I think I jumped 4 or 5 people in my run up after pit stop, which was great. But what I saw then, I think 8 DAs, he came out of the pits right behind me, but those people obviously had newer tires, so I was struggling at the end and just had to settle for what I got actually.
Still, 5th position's a pretty solid result from considering you dropped down to like 14th, 15th when you made that pit stop to repair the damage.
Yeah, and especially qualifying in 9th, so I'm really happy with 5th. It's fine.
Excellent, definitely a good result for you. And then the consolation interview for Andrex, who always likes to creep in these interviews. How was the Renault for you as an interesting choice for Park?
Yeah, it's not too bad, to be fair, for a 500 brake horsepower quality street rapper. It was good. It was okay. I'd actually done a little bit of running on it before Dubai, but I didn't get a chance to actually run it there, so I thought I'd take it out tonight. Yeah, pretty quiet race for me. I was falling to desert, and I think he lost it on whatever it is, turn 3 or 4. And I had nowhere to go but into the back of him, but it didn't really affect me that much. I stayed out for an extra lap or 2. I was hoping to get to about 15 or 16 for laps and then pit for tyres. I did a social race last night and it didn't change tyres, and it was definitely not the right strategy, so at least I learned from that and did it correctly this time. But yeah, it was a fairly quiet race, fairly solid though. Yeah, just kind of keeping out of trouble really, and letting other people come to the victim of the conditions.
Good stuff. Well, we'll congratulate you on your position, but I know that it doesn't count for anything. You're not scoring any points, so there's not much point.
Just to fill out the grid.
Yep, pretty much, and continue to provide that racing action that we love to see and commentate on. So thank you very much for the interview, guys. Congratulations to the podium drivers. Congrats for Mr. Van Orman for gaining a whole bunch of positions and getting himself up into 5th to score some decent points as well. Just like to say I thoroughly enjoyed commentating on that race. I'm looking forward to the next one as well.
It was an awesome race indeed. Thank you very much to those that have been with us throughout the stream. A great pleasure to commentate for yourselves. Thank you very much, Yorkie, for allowing me to invade your commentary box once again. Despite the fact that I've had little voice and my lungs have tried to dislodge all race long. And again, I apologise for the incessant coughing. I've tried to keep it off mic, but sometimes they caught me out. And we will indeed be back next week for more AOR action. Thank you very much, and good night.